Another way that you could ask that would be, so what makes now a good time for us to be having this conversation? Because everyone has a trigger. There's always some cause, so it's like cause and effect. What was it that caused them to want to talk to you? What was it that made you decide? If you can identify what that is, the rest of the conversation will flow very organically, and that's what you want to do. The last thing you want to do is to start them from an arbitrary position that they might not be in. So the best way for that to grow is to stem from what that core driver is or that trigger event is. And this is one of the most powerful ways that you can do it. So if we were to run with a particular example, let's just say it's a mortgage broker, right? So an example of a question could be, so what made you decide to invest the time today to organise a better loan repayment strategy? And a good answer, or a typical answer that you might get from a client in response to that question could be, well, look, I have an existing broker, but I literally never hear from him. And I know that there's been at least 3 rate cuts in the last 18 months, and that there's probably a better deal and probably a better setup for us, but we just never hear from him. So right there, you've gotten to the core driver, the core motivator behind why they wanted to catch up with you. And that's a very, very powerful position to be in. And so this is a particularly powerful piece of what it is that you're going to learn tonight. And that is that a purchase takes place first in the mind of our client only when the perceived cost of doing nothing becomes greater than the investment in your product or service. So I'll say that again. A purchase takes place first in the mind of our client only when the perceived cost of doing nothing becomes greater than the investment in your product or service. And so to do that, we need to create an environment where the person that we're talking to shines a light on the problem that they've got. So how do we do that? So when you hear that core motivator, that core driver, one of the best things that you can ask is to say, so that sounds like it's important. Can you tell me more about that? Or what's the impact of that? Or why is that important? Or why is having a better structure important to you? And so if we are to continue with this particular example, the answer to that question might be, well, look, this is a major investment. We want to try and get this thing paid off as quickly as we possibly can. And based on the fact that there's been 3 rate cuts, and I don't even know whether we're getting the best rate, we could be literally saving thousands of dollars, but we're not, because we haven't heard from this guy. I think he's just more interested in winning new business than actually servicing his existing book of business. So as the client does that, they take away the option by what they're saying of staying where they are. And they're literally talking themselves into wanting to make that change rather than you having to talk them into anything, which is infinitely more powerful.